Hello viewers, today we're going to be attempting to balance the Air King 9155 window fan. This is a new fan and unfortunately it's out of balance right out of the box, which seems to be a common trend with the Air King. I'm not sure what their deal is, why they can't make a blade, but just about every fan I've purchased from them seems to have a blade balancing issue, which is really unfortunate because if it wasn't for that, these would be really good quality fans. So let's see if we can get that blade into balance. Okay, so it looks like the fan doesn't secure to anything on the frame, just the rear guard, which is kind of unfortunate because the rear guard is kind of extraneous. I would just remove it, you know, because nobody's reaching in my windows. And if they are, then it serves them right to get their hand cut up in the fan. So, but I guess, I mean, I could get a nut and bolt and secure it that way, but I guess whatever. Alright, so here's the inside of the fan, and I'm kind of, part of me is kind of glad we're doing this because now I can get a feel of how this thing is made, and it looks like it's built to be pretty serviceable because that was certainly easy to remove for cleaning, and the blade is secured with a nut, which is easily removed. And now you can see that we're having a balance issue here as the fan moves by itself. I think this blade here is heavier than the others. So let's see here if we can get this thing off. I may need a socket to go in there because it's a little bit below the surface, which is no problem. I have sockets. I have plenty of sockets. Let's see which one we need. Too small. Perfect. I don't know if this is reverse threaded or not. Let's see. It appears like it is, which is odd because it's a reversible fan, so it really makes no difference. That was a completely reasonable tightness and came off with ease. Whoops, and I just tightened it again. Okay. My brain is working very well today. Alright, there we go. So that's off. That was the nut holding it on, which is the correct way to hold a blade on. And now we're going to have some more difficulty because that seems like it's pretty well stuck on there. Alright, I'm going to have to get the pullers out because that's stuck on there pretty good. Oh yeah, that's not even budging. Okay, well, there goes my commentary about this being easy to service because most people are not going to go beyond that if they can't get that off. Now I have to remember where I put the pullers because when I was cleaning up I moved them and now I don't know where they're at. This is definitely one reason to just leave the place a mess, because at least you know where everything is. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to pause the video and see if I can find where the pullers are. I located the puller, and I'm going to use the big one because I think we're going to need it in order to get a good grip on this hub. And this is not going to be easy because the shaft is very small. It looks like a, I don't know, it's really, really small. And so it's going to be hard to keep the puller on it correctly. Doable, but just difficult. There's not much of the to grab onto on the blade either. So also doable, but just difficult. And I think I've mentioned it before, but this consistently is one of my favorite tools because it does something that you almost can't do without it. And for the most part, it usually works pretty good too. So I'm going to put a little bit of tension on here and make sure that, you know, all three arms are on there pretty good. And then I'm going to start tightening it down, trying to make sure that the shaft stays on there. And there it goes, it'll come right off with ease. Okay, so it's come off about a ½ inch, and that's as far up I can take it with the puller. So let's see if it's ready to come off now. There it goes. Okay. Super clean, super easy removal with the puller as always. So that is exactly why this is one of my favorite tools that I have. Okay, so the blade is off. Now let's take a look at the balance. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the motor. That's a huge motor. That's almost the size of like one of the old box fan motors. I would say that's a good 3 or 4 inches across. It is. It's a 4-inch wide motor. Can't tell how deep it is. I'd say it's at least 2 inches or more. That's quite substantial. And it's absolutely ball bearing. You don't get that kind of a spin down with the sleeve bearing motor. And it doesn't go in and out at all, so it's definitely ball bearing, no doubt about it. So let's slip this blade on. I'm going to slip it on backwards just for the test. And I want to see if we can find out where the heavy side is. Okay, so this is definitely the heavy blade here. So that means I'm going to go here, and we're going to add a blob of hot glue onto here. I don't have a whole lot left in here, but let's see what we got. Okay. Do something like that. And I don't want it to get stuck again, but I'm going to slip it back onto the shaft. So I want to be able to spin it up and see if we made any progress. Okay. Alright, let's see what we have here. We have nothing because that power bar is not plugged in. Okay, that's derp number 1 for this video. That's an improvement, but it's still out of whack. So I don't know if that was too much or too little. Let's see if we can tell based on the way it stops. See if it wants to go to a specific side again. Okay, so let's see, is that, where did I put the, alright, that wasn't enough glue then, because it was still down this side as the heavy side, so let's add some more glue. Derp number 2 for this video. And this thing is about to run out of glue. Alright, let's try that. That's not terrible. We may go with that. Well, I guess that is still terrible. Okay, let's keep going. I may have put too much glue at this point. Let's see here. So this was the heavy blade before. No, it doesn't seem like it's particularly drawn to any given area. Let's try a little more glue. Try as much as I have left, which is not much. Okay, that got better, I think. So it may need a little bit more glue. I'm gonna have to get another glue stick into my contraption here, which is no problem. I got plenty of glue. I love hot glue. I use it all the time. Okay, whoops. Okay, now the stick is in. I think this was tightened too much initially, because you can see here the thing is actually bent in. Those little pins there, and now it's coming on and off just fine. So somebody or some machine in China or America, I don't know, or some person in China or America probably put that on too tight initially. Okay. Feels pretty good. It's not perfect, but it may never be. You know, I think the other part of the problem here is that the blade isn't completely on secure. So let's put this on securely and test it again, because it's got a little bit of wiggle room here as it is. I'm only going to put this hand tight because I don't think there's any reason to do it more than that. You know what? I wonder if there's a way to make it, because it looks like it's not sitting flat on the shaft. Yeah, it's definitely not. No, I don't think there's a way to really move that around at all. I don't know, there's definitely an issue with that, because one of the blades is not, one of the blades is more forward than the others. Okay, so now I think there may be too much glue. Yeah, now there's too much glue. So we gotta take a little bit of glue off. Which is easy. That's one of the things I like about hot glue, is that it's easy to take off. So let's just remove a little bit. Try to slice this with the knife here. Okay, I just ended up taking off a big piece and I'm going to put a little bit back. And this time when I test it, I'm going to put the bolt on as well. I think that might have been throwing it off to not have the bolt connected. Still pretty bad. It seems like it doesn't really have a heavy spot anymore, so I may just leave it there. I'm going to put a piece of glue under this blade. right either. This blade may be just totally out of whack. Unfortunately, this is a game of guess and check, and so there's really no good way to do this that's quick and conclusive the first time around. I just spent some more time on it, and this is what I've decided to stay with: a weight on that blade and a weight on this blade. So this blade was the heavier one than these other two, so that's what we got. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. If this was a sleeve bearing fan, I would spend more time trying to make it more precise, but since it's a ball bearing fan, if it's slightly out of line, not a big deal. Ball bearings can tolerate more abuse, and they're fairly easily replaced as well if it did happen to wear out. So we're going to go with it this way. Oh, it's still far from perfect, but it's just getting ridiculous at this point, so that's it. We're going to go with it like that. Alright, now we're going to reassemble. This may be a bit of a chore because of the way this has to line up. There's nothing keeping this back guard in place where it needs to be. Yep, this is going to be a major nuisance. Okay, that was bad, but it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it would be. That's nice. Okay, now with those two in, the rest should go relatively easy. Okay, let's see how the performance is. How badly will it shake this time? That's a significant improvement. I can still feel that it's not quite in balance, but the whole frame isn't shaking all over the place like it was before. Okay, it shakes pretty bad on my stove. Well, whatever. It's okay on low. We're going with it. I ain't spending any more time on this thing. So as long as it doesn't cause vibrating sounds in the window, good enough.